In the gospel today, Jesus describes the kingdom of God as like a treasure buried in a field or a merchant searching for fine pearls. And it kind of reminds me of this old credit card, MasterCard commercial. Maybe I'm sure you'll get it once I get it going. So the scene is there's a father and a son at a baseball game. And then it says, well, the 2 tickets to the baseball game, $96. Hot dog and drinks, $37. An experience between father and son is priceless. There you go. Right? What is priceless for you? What is that treasure buried in a field? What is that fine pearl worth you're willing to make any price? In that first reading, God asked Solomon, hey, ask something of me and I will give it to you. And Solomon asks for wisdom. And maybe that's what you want to ask for. But I think if you think about what is it that's worth the pearl of great price, it shouldn't be something material, right? It shouldn't be like a car or something, right? It should be people. It should be relationships. But the thing is, once you've identified that pearl of great price, you have to be willing to let go of things to guard and to protect that. But I think generally speaking, there's a default bias towards adding things instead of letting go of things. We solve problems by adding, doing more, instead of thinking about what can be removed or what can be subtracted from. So, for example, if you want to be a good student at school, if you want to be a better student, what's a good advice? Study more. Study more, right? Spend more time. You're not studying enough. You need to spend more time studying. And studying more is not necessarily a bad thing, but have you considered from the other perspective of it's not just about studying more, but it's about removing distractions. Have you seen a student study in their room? So you have the homework, but then you also have the TV over there on the corner. You have your TikTok going on. You're eating snacks. And then you're petting the dog or the cat you got. How can you possibly study? You cannot multitask. Or, depending on the student or the age, but on the weekend you go, or even weeknights, go out party, come back home 3 a.m. What are you going to study from 3 to 6 a.m.? So it's not just spending more time in study. What if you remove distractions and you study the same amount of time? Would that make you a better student? Yeah. Or a lot of young adults or professionals, they say, "Oh, Father Steve, someday I'd like to buy a house." Oh, that's good. It's good for you, huh? But what's the problem? Costs too much. I'd love to buy a house, but unless you inherit it from your parents or grandparents, it's very hard to buy a house. So then, what's the solution? At the other mess, they say, "Well, go rob a bank." I said, "No, that's not a good solution." I won't say which mess, but so what's the solution?
Lotto.
Well, lotto, that's not a good solution. Work harder. They say add more, right? So okay, maybe I'm making 100,000, but for some reason I have no savings. Everything is gone. I have so many expenses, and I'm out, buying this and fine dining that, first class experience that. Okay, so then I got to make more money so that I could actually have money to save a house. So far, so good. Well, it don't work that way. It's called lifestyle creep. Have you heard of that? Lifestyle creep means, okay, so I'm making 100,000, which is not bad. For whatever reason, you're able to double that. Let's say you're making 200,000 a year. You're still broke. because you're still spending everything. So it's not about working more hours or making more money. It's about saving money. It's about making a sacrifice to get what you really want. It's about being patient. And it's the same thing. If in our relationship with God, relationship with Jesus, I know that it still hasn't been a month since I've been here at this parish. Still hasn't been a month, but it feels a little longer, But the pearl of great price, for me it's the gift of priesthood. And in order for me to be a priest, I also have to let go of things. So I joined the seminary at the tender age of 17. I know, I was a little puppy. And do you know how many of my friends, high school friends, supported me in that decision? 0. And at the time, just to give a little background, I'm an only child, pretty spoiled, to be honest, pretty spoiled. I had a real nice car, a convertible red Mercedes-Benz. I was a golfer, so I was going to play golf next door at Stanford. My girlfriend was the prom queen. They never made me a prom king, but she was a prom queen, right? But gladly give up all those things. Gladly give up all those things, right? For the opportunity to be of service, to be a priest. And now, 15 years later, those same buddies of mine who are married, not all of them, but some are married and they got kids, and they're like, Steve, I think you made the right choice. Man, being married is tough, man. Oh, man, I got no life. I got these kids. They're crying all day. Oh, man, I agreed to a certain point, but then now it's a different kind of sacrifice, different kind of subtraction that I got to let go. Just yesterday, we had a baptism, the Spanish baptisms, and the babies are so cute. I mean, they're all cute, but some of them are like even more cuter. It just looks like looks like a doll, And I was just like, pinching her, cheeks. And oh, it's so cute, And then kind of got me thinking, yes, my buddies, they're right in some sense. I don't have that responsibility. But then also, sometimes I wonder, well, what would it look like if I went another route? What would it look like if I have a child of my own? I hope that never happens, but well, what would that look like? But that's a sacrifice, right? And that sacrifice is required not just by canon law, but it's necessary so that I can spend more time focusing on y'all, on the people of God, the people here specifically at St. Elizabeth. So in our road to holiness is not just about adding more to the plate, but it's about letting go of things, making sacrifices, subtracting. And some people think, well, if I want to grow in my relationship with Jesus, just like I got to study more, I got to make more money, people think, well, I got to pray more. I gotta have a devotion. I gotta do more rosary. I gotta serve people more. I gotta donate more, or I gotta do more to have a better relationship with Jesus. But it's not necessarily doing more. But what do I need to let go of? What are the things that are distracting me? Give you an example here. Most of you know Mark Zuckerberg. Right? Mark Zuckerberg, there's Facebook, now it's Meta. Talk about letting go. He let go of 8,000 employees. So that's a physical subtraction there. But him and also a lot of tech executives, they're intentional about what they want to spend their time on. So if you go to Mark Zuckerberg's house, he's got a closet, and the closet of wardrobe is just black and white. Not because he wants to be a priest or just he wants to copy Steve Jobs, but he doesn't want to think about what to wear because that's not something very important to him. I'm not judging, but how much time you spend on the wardrobe? Huh? And maybe your job is a fashion artist. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe that's your pearl of great price. But for most people, there are other things that we can focus our time on. That's why you go to the monasteries, where the Carmelite monasteries, all the nuns, there's no flavor of the week. It's just same clothes. So they can focus on what they want to focus on. I'm not telling you to be very boring in what you dress. I'm not telling you to be monks and nuns. But what can you subtract, remove, to be focused on the pearl of great price, to be better Christians? Maybe it looks a lot like, look at your phones. How many apps y'all got on your phones? I don't know. Probably a lot, right? And when we talk about apps and the phone, I'm not talking about just teens or teenagers or young adults. I'm talking about adults. How many apps and how many are actually useful in your lives? How many random game apps do you have? And how much time you spend on that thing, right? Whereas parents, we tell the kids at the dinner table, hey, no technology, no phones while we're eating dinner. And what do the adults do? They're on the phone, right? Or maybe take a look at your material possessions, your wardrobe. Donate some of that stuff, right? Say no to things. It's not just adding more. Say no to meetings. Say no to certain social engagements to protect what you think, what is that pearl of great price for you. I know that for me, priests have different assignments, and I think this is one of my few or first assignment where it's just, my whole assignment is just here, St. Elizabeth. Like our previous pastor, Bishop Andy, he was half-time here and half-time at the Chancery. I'm full-time here. And in fact, that's going to be my focus, unless I'm told otherwise. I got a call last week. Father Steve, can you give like a retreat over in Toronto, Canada? And I'm like, I'm not going to Canada. I mean, not that I don't like Canada, but why do I need to go there? My focus is here. I just been here a month, less than a month. It's nice to be going around and doing a world tour or doing this or doing that. All that. Studying more is a good thing. Making more money is a great thing. More rosary is great. But it's not necessarily about adding, but to protect that guard, that pearl of great price. What do I need to let go? What do I need to subtract from this week? I believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible. I believe in one Lord,